Good morning. I wanted to offer a couple of thoughts on the anxiety that a lot of folks are feeling over things like hoarding toilet paper and a lot of the social panic that seems to be happening right now because of the coronavirus. So I wanted to start with this amazing skit from Saturday Night Live from 1995. It's called Wake Up and Smile, and if you haven't seen it, I'll put the link to the video in the description for this video, so you can look at it right down there. I really suggest, if you haven't seen this skit, or if you haven't seen it in a while, that you stop and go watch that, because it's honestly a much better commentary on what's happening right now than anything I've seen so far. But in the skit, there are two news anchors who are morning show for Phoenix, and they're just going along. It's the 20th anniversary of this morning show, and they're talking about how great it's been to be doing this for so long. And then in the middle of the recording, the teleprompter fritzes out, and so literally there's no longer a script for the show. And then the ongoing gag is that the social order quickly begins to break down. And when the male anchor, played by Will Ferrell, goes off script, he starts saying super racist and classist things. So there's a lot of stuff that's funny about that, but I wanted to start by reading a quote from this amazing book here, Life's Too Short to Pretend You're Not Religious, by David Dark. He's the one that brought this skit to my attention. He talks about it at length in this book, but I wanted to read one quote from him kind of to start here. He's talking about going off script and what happens when we quit following the script. He said, "This 20-year-old skit poses the crucial question of where we really are apart from the social cues, prompts, and stage directions by which we figure out how to assure one another that we can be trusted, reasoned with, and counted on not to behave like sociopaths." When you look at a lot of the classic philosophical ideas about why we come together as a society and what makes us a people, not just a group of individuals, a lot of it has to do with social order, making sure that we're all safe, making sure that we all have everything that we need. And I think times like this reveal that we don't actually trust each other very much. I remember a couple of years ago when Hurricane Harvey hit, and we had that one day when we ran out of gas because whether you worked from home or whether you had a short commute or whether you had just filled up your tank the day before, everyone freaked out and panicked and went out and filled up every gas thing that they could find, because they had the assumption that if they didn't take everything they needed in the moment, then they weren't going to have enough tomorrow. And that actually created the shortage. And we're seeing the same kind of thing happening right now, obviously with toilet paper, but also with perishable food items. And the most recent thing I've heard is even baby formula, because adults are afraid that they're going to run out of milk, and so they're hoarding baby formula, which means that actual babies who need the formula, who can't eat anything else like ramen or rice or whatever, are actually not able to get their food. People are calling this virus apocalyptic. I actually saw a Facebook post this morning that called this the Coronapocalypse. And it's funny because when we use that word apocalypse, we mean it's the end of the world, right? So we think about big movies like, San Andreas, or that 2012 movie, or the Left Behind series, right? It's big stuff about the end of the world. When we say apocalypse, that's what we mean. And that's not actually what the word apocalypse originally meant. It's what it's come to mean in our culture, but it's not what it originally meant. And I think its original meaning is even more apt, because I think we all realize that the coronavirus is probably not actually the start of the zombie apocalypse. It's probably not, we are definitely going to be inconvenienced, and our lives are going to be transformed for probably, it's looking like now, a few months, especially if you live in a hotspot like I do here in Dallas. But it's not actually going to be the end of the world. So the word apocalypse comes to us from the Greek apocalypsis, and it's the title of the book of Revelation in Greek. Oftentimes biblical books are named after the first word in the book. So the book of Revelation is called Revelation because the first word is the Greek word apocalypsis, and that word means to reveal or to uncover. And so the book of Revelation, which you know this if you've been attending in person or virtually the Revelations that I've been doing, right? That means to show or to uncover or to reveal. So the question in an apocalypse is not how is the world ending, it's what is being revealed in this story. And so you take what's happening right now with COVID-19. We don't ask, oh my gosh, is the world going to end because of this virus? we ask what is being revealed about us as individuals and us as a society by how we are responding to the way the virus removes our operating script from us, right? How we're responding to the fact that we can't just go about business as usual. When you take away the script, like they did in the Wake Up and Smile skit, what's actually underneath that the script usually covers up? Is it kindness, neighborliness, goodness, or is it racism, xenophobia, selfishness, a scarcity mentality? And unfortunately, obviously, I think we're seeing a lot of that, especially with regard to how our Asian American friends and neighbors are being treated. With the way people are hoarding goods and resources, with the kind of fear mentality that's out there. But we're also seeing a tremendous amount of kindness and creativity from all of the different ways that people are coming together to figure out ways to endure and to survive. So I want to read another quote from this book where Dr. Dark talks about how we respond in cases when we go off book or when we lose the script. He says, "We have it on ancient authority that the intellectual burden of pursuing these questions about who we are when we go off book, right? What we really are underneath, what we are when the script isn't telling us what to do, right? The intellectual burden of pursuing these questions is a much less onerous task than the psychic burden we take on ourselves the more we try to avoid these questions." This is something I've been really kind of haunted by over the last couple of years as a pastor, is how the lengths that we'll go to avoid having to look at ourselves and to do the hard work of self-introspection and real transformation that God invites us into. I think when you look at the negative ways that people are responding right now, it's pretty obvious that we have a lot of work to do on ourselves and as a culture. And we don't want to do that. And the script, most of the time, keeps us from having to do that, because the script tells us what to do and how to think, how to behave, what to say, so we don't have to actually be alone with our thoughts. We don't have to actually dive deep enough into our psyches to get uncomfortable. When you take the scripts away, which hardly ever happens, a hurricane, a virus, a teleprompter malfunctioning, then we're left alone with our thoughts and we're having to think about what's going on. So there's a couple of questions I think that would be really healthy for us during this time. First question is that, what is this apocalypse showing, right? What is being revealed about me? What is being revealed about us? What are the real trends that are being shown in our culture that are ugly? Things like the racism that we're seeing directed at our Asian and Asian American friends, the kind of xenophobia that we're seeing, that we're not seeing in other countries, right? That we're seeing as a particularly ugly form of U.S. reaction to this problem. The way we're hoarding, the way we're fighting each other for resources, that's being revealed. But again, also, maybe there's some creativity and some kindness being revealed too. And then the second question is, how will I respond? What are the things I see that I don't like? How am I responding to them? How am I making a decision to be better and to be different? How am I responding as an individual? Am I going out of my way to be kind when I go out? If I can afford to eat out and to support local businesses that are suffering during this shutdown, am I choosing to do that? Am I choosing to be generous in the way I'm tipping? Things like that. Again, if I can. If I can't, what are some other ways I'm encouraging kindness? I've seen all kinds of artists providing free entertainment, like monologues if they're theater people, or concerts if they're musicians. Dropkick Murphy on St. Patrick's Day live streamed their annual St. Patty's Day concert from Boston on YouTube for free. I've seen a ton of independent, smaller, more local artists doing the same kind of thing, just getting online and providing some free entertainment. Because we know people are trapped inside. My friend Kathy Kong is doing streaming simple, accessible yoga that's kid-friendly, because so many parents and kids are trapped at home in quarantine because the schools are closed. So what can you offer? How can you be creative and inject some kindness and some hope? We don't know how long this is going to last. I've heard some people saying into June and July, and we know that probably the way we live is going to change. You can't live that long in another pattern on another script and not expect that it's going to create some different habits and some different behaviors and some different attitudes. So we get to decide right now what kind of new script we're writing. We get to decide right now if we're going to allow God to take this time when we're off book, before we settle into a new routine, before we settle into a new script. We get to invite God to look inside of us and to really ask if we can be transformed in a powerful and exciting way. So I hope that in the midst of all of the confusion and the anxiety and the very legitimate concerns about what's happening, that we will take some time to look and to ask, what is being revealed here and how am I responding to it? Because I believe that there's some good things that can happen if we will be open to them and if we will let them. And of course, if you have some creative ideas about what that can look like, I'd love to hear about those in the comments. I'm already amazed at your creativity and your kindness, and I'd love to see that continue after the first couple of weeks of this is gone and as that new routine begins to develop. So take care of yourselves out there. Grace and peace be with you.